Thank you, Doc. And Jeremy, you always do a great job. We appreciate your service and all you guys' service. I will tell you, my dad was in World War II, and he passed a couple of years ago, and my mom had already passed. And as a result, I received the flag at the cemetery, and I had never been so proud or touched as I was that day, and I got that hanging on my wall now. I'm an agriculture guy. I don't know anything else. That's why they call me Mr. Agriculture, I guess. But I have been very, very lucky. I'm an old hog farmer from Caneyville, Kentucky. Anybody know where Caneyville is? On the Western Kentucky Parkway, 40 miles west of E-Town, where I come from this morning. Hog farmed there for 20 years until it got so good in December of 98. Hogs got to 10 cents. Break even was 35. And my wife said, you got to get a real job. And she's always right. I started over at 43, came to Frankfort at the Department of Ag, and worked my way up over the years until I was over shows and fairs. I was over market news, your animal marketing division. When you hear the livestock and grain market, that doesn't fall out of the sky. We got people sitting at the stockyards writing that stuff down. And then, then I went to governor's office. And I will tell you, most of you don't know probably, but when they figured out cigarettes would kill you, everybody started suing the cigarette companies. And they said, the cigarette companies said, if you quit suing us, we'll pay. 46 states took them up on it, and Kentucky's the only state that took the money, put half of it in health care, half of it in agriculture. And that's the money at the Governor's Office of Ag Policy that I was over. If you haven't figured out that there's money out there in your county or projects from state money, you need to check it out. And I'm sure some of the resource people here in a minute will help you with that. Many grants through Joni here at KSU are part of that. I got to see agriculture in so many different ways, so many different viewpoints. I wish you could have gone with me and seen what I seen. It's absolutely amazing. We have this perception that we're still tobacco juice running down our chin, we're following a mule through a tobacco patch. It's not like that. It's not like that. It's high tech. It's absolutely amazing what I've seen. Who would have thought 30 years ago that the number one industry in the state today would be poultry, chicken? And I'm going to tell you something. We didn't have any chicken barns 30 years ago, really. And now, over $1 billion industry like that. My daughter and her husband, Luke, just built 2 mega chicken houses in Breckinridge County for Tyson. They're doing the little bird, 4-pounder. 32 days, they got a 4-pound bird with a feed efficiency of 1.47. They eat 1.5 pounds of feed and they gain 1 pound. I thought I was the only person in the world that could do that. But chickens do it every day. Amazing what we see. You know how they control that chicken barn? From a kindergarten classroom and a cell phone. They measure every day water consumption, feed consumption. One night, Luke said, we're going to run out of feed. They called the Tyson people, said, no, you won't run out till 10. We'll be there at 9. You know what's really great about the chicken barns when it comes to you folks? It's what we call contract farming. You don't own the chickens. You don't buy the feed. They bring you the feed, bring you the chickens. You put the building together. You do the work. You get paid for your work. And what's great about it is you get paid every 32 days. Molly and Luke get paid. Where in a lot of our businesses out here, we put out a crop. We don't get to collect anything until the fall and the crop comes in. And so that puts us in a bind somewhat. What's interesting is we're very, very capable of getting a loan for a chicken barn because of the contract. Got that contract, 10, 12-year contract, and you can go to bank with that and get a loan. So it's neat. The chicken thing is off the charts. The dairy thing, my dad milked for 41 years. I'm off a dairy farm. I never remember not having had to go to the barn in the morning when I was a kid. I used to go feed 22 bucket calves, start the milk, and then Dad would come and I'd go to school. That'd be child abuse today, but it wasn't. It was wonderful for me. I still get up 4 o'clock in the morning every day. Today we got cows being milked with robotic milkers. Carl Cheney down, we got 7 or 8 in the whole state. Carl Cheney down in Bowling Green has about 20 Jersey cows. He's got a video where his dad started milking by hand, and now cows are milking themselves. This robot feeds them in the robot. They got a computer around their neck. They know who she is. Lasers read the udder. They walk in there, washes that udder off twice, knows by teat shape, udder size, puts the milkers on. Milks her 3.2 times a day. She's given 12 more pounds of milk a day. She's lasting longer. She gets milk when she wants to. Old Bessie, she's the boss cow. She goes in, feeds them in the robot. She gets milk. She's boss cow. She didn't think she'd get enough to eat. She goes around and comes in again. Come anytime they want to. It's hooked to the freestall barn or the pack barn. Old Bessie comes in. It knows by the computer around her, you done been milked, Bessie. Bzz, kicks her out. This is agriculture in 2022. What we've seen in dairy when it pertains to veterans is that we see an explosion in agritourism. I don't know how much money Cheneys are making milking 20 cows. But I'm telling you, busloads and busloads of kids will come to that farm at $5 a head, go down there and tour that little video room. I know he's making money doing that. Agritourism is a huge, huge part. We've become a novelty in agriculture. We've got no connection. Grandma and Grandpa's the only one that's got any connection anymore. So being a novelty means you're an attraction for what's next. Get over on the beef cattle side. David Neville back here, good beef cattle producer. I will tell you, we got 1 million cows. We do beef cattle really, really well. It is what we do is we take the poorest ground we've got. I know all you guys have probably got that good bottom ground that's flat, no hills or none of that, but I don't. I got that stuff that's like this. It does not need to be cut up. We turn that poor ground into raising beef cattle, and we do it really, really well. We have really lucky in Kentucky to have extension support and all kinds of support from the Cattlemen's Association and groups that can help you make improvement from the standpoint of that. It's interesting. People don't know it. But you know what? When you pick up that Angus hamburger, Joni Nelson, you know what you do? You make the cattle black at the farm. You make the black cattle at the stockyards $6 to $8 hundred higher than the red cattle of the same quality. Certified Angus beef, top 2/3 of the choice grade and black hided. Could be 1% Angus, but they're black. It's amazing what we see in terms of that part of it. Cattle business, you got hills and hollers. Turn them cattle out. Let them make you some money and keep your place picked up. I just bought 20 cows there. Once the governor fired me and I went home, I got those cows, and I love going out there just watching them. I tell you that one of the growth areas in the livestock side, and it's one that's very, very profitable, I think, is the sheep and goat thing. KSU does a really nice job with their research here in the sheep and goat thing. A lot of times we can run them with our cattle, and the goats, I think they say they only overlap 9% of what they want to eat with the cattle, so they get the weeds and the cattle get the grass. That's smart. That's smart. I've got 60 ewes. I've got some hair sheep, and you talk about popular. Word is they're going up 20% a year in terms of volume here in Kentucky. We have 5 or 6 graded sales. We do a better job of selling our cattle, our sheep and our goats than we do our cattle in this state because we sell them in graded groups. Numbers of like kind gives you leverage at the marketplace. So you bring 5 for you, 5 for you, 5 for you, 5 for me. We're selling a group of 30, and they get off the phone and they bet on them. Sell them one at a time, you can take a beating. Dr. Burdine says at UK, selling cattle, load lot versus one is $20 a hundredweight. It'd be more than that in sheep when it comes down to it. Sheep are just little cattle. 2 or 3 issues you have to fight. Foot trouble, because we have so much moisture in this state. We got it falling out of the sky where a lot of places wish they had it. And you got parasite load. I will tell you, both of them genetically, you can basically get rid of those that don't limp, and those that don't get worms will breed on for those that don't too. It's genetic. I've done it in my farm. Now I've had sheep for 35 years. I sold sheep last winter for $4 and a nickel a pound. Do you think you can make money at $4 a nickel a pound? Now, the problem is we got to stay under 80 pounds. It's all ethnic. Everything's ethnic that's eaten out there, particularly for so the market is 80 pounds, and then you take a dock. But it's one of those deals. You got a barn lot that you're letting grow up. Put you some hair sheep in there. You don't have to shear them and let them do their thing, make you money, and it's just they're little cows. You go over on the crop side, and I will tell you, it's amazing. I'm old enough to have followed a mule through a tobacco patch. In my dad's lifetime, he farmed with a team of horses, and now we've changed everything. I remember that mule doing real good going away from the barn and tearing it all up coming back. I remember Dad coming from the barn giving us both an attitude adjustment. It worked perfectly on me. It didn't help that mule much. Today, we go into a field where we soil test the ground. We take that soil test information, plug it into the equipment that's GPS controlled. You go over a poor piece of ground, you put less seed. You go over a great piece of ground, you put more seed. Make a trip around the outside with a tractor, you turn the steering wheel loose. GPS auto steer. First row's crooked, they're all crooked. But the same distance apart, we don't double a spot, we don't waste a spot. We're managing nutrients as they lay in the field. This is agriculture in 2022. Off the charts, what we see and how efficient we have become. Now on the crop side, I will tell you the biggest growth area we see that fits you all perfectly is this local food thing. This local food movement is off the charts. I'm telling you, off the charts. There is a difference between eating out of a can and eating out of the garden. And once you taste it, it's hard to go back. Now, the situation is this. A guy in my county who's a big strawberry guy, and he tells me if you do it right, you can make $10,000 an acre with an acre of strawberries. It don't take very many acres of strawberries to make a living. Now, what we have to do and what we're seeing happen is we have to be able to stop perishability in produce. You with me? We have to freeze it. We have to can it. We have to do something where basically when it all comes due at the same day and the market's not big enough to take it up, we still get it to sell later. And that's one of those things that just happens to be there. It's amazing. 170 farmers markets now in the state. Ag development funds help build facility after facility after facility in these counties. What we see in farmers a lot of times, and maybe it's veteran farmers the same way, our farmers do a great job of farming. They do a pitiful job of selling it. They're not good salesmen. And if you can't sell it, if you don't like people, then you hire some FFA kid, girl, to sell it for you. Somebody that can do what you need done, and you do what you do good, and let them do what they do good, but fill that farmer's market up. It's huge what we can do in terms of the local food thing if we just went at it. It's off the charts. Now, the most interesting thing about agriculture is all the things we don't know yet. We've just scratched the surface of what we know. And I mean, it's amazing what I've learned. Man walked in the office 4 or 5 years ago now. He was from Germany. He had a PhD from MIT. I was nervous. I wasn't sure I could even talk to him. He was that smart. Pharmaceutical guy. He had this product called Artemisia. And Artemisia is the only medication in the world for malaria. They were raising it in Vietnam. It came to Kentucky because you raise it like tobacco. We don't have malaria. But what we do have is cancer. And they're using Artemisia in other countries like we use chemo here to treat cancer with you don't lose all your hair, you don't have all the side effects. University of Kentucky Medical Center is on their 4th year, I think now, of research that's very, very positive about, you know and I know, there's a cure for cancer out here somewhere in agriculture. We're going to stumble upon it one of these days, and I hope it's due. I get nervous, I get aggravated, because I think we like treating cancer, seems like more than we like curing cancer. And I think we need to get on the ball and get it done. Agriculture's exciting, it's fun. The biggest thing we need in agriculture is people. We need farmers. Bad. What people don't understand is that 17% of the population works in agriculture. When you go all the way from the farm to the meat case, grocery store, 17% of the population. We learned in COVID, plain and simple, that we are essential. Remember when the shelves got a little empty? They were way more nervous about food than they were toilet paper, and it got scarce too. But I will tell you, we're essential. We're essential industry. We're the only industry that they depend on 3 times a day in this country to put something on their table, and that makes a difference. We need people, and I am a huge cheerleader for agriculture because of all the things we don't know yet and all the things you can do when it gets into it. I will tell you, I got to where at the governor's office, I didn't study the project, Jeremy. I studied the people. People make things go and people make things not go. And I will tell you, certain ones have the talents to get it done, and certain ones, I've seen projects I thought was just most wonderful project in the world, and it failed because it's the wrong person. And I've seen projects, I had a lady down in Letcher County, they've been through it all these flood and stuff, named Valerie Horn. And I'm telling you, she came to the Ag Development Board, and the Ag Development Board was hesitant about giving her any money because how many farmers did we affect? They're all about affecting as many farmers as positively as they can. But this lady, I knew this lady, she was a Cadillac. She was a get-her-done kind. She's the one that makes it happen. So they took this old kitchen in a school that had been closed down, and they took it one step further than a certified kitchen. They were doing some cooking and making, canning and doing the perishability stop stuff. But they even went further than that. They started making meals. They were making meals for the hungry, buying local produce. I mean, the farmers market flourished. They bought it all. They bought it all. Once people got through buying, they took it all and made plate lunches out of it to feed the hungry at $5.50 a plate when they were buying them originally from Iowa from $9.50. People make a difference. And I study people. First thing you got to have. Number one, I never seen anybody succeed that didn't come in that wasn't tore up and passionate and excited about their project. They absolutely just eat up with it. I'm that way about agriculture. I just want to learn and study it all the time. I judge livestock shows, have for 40-some years in 40-some states. I use my hog stories to help you. I was judging in Houston, Texas. 4,286 hogs. You hear me? One show, 4,286 hogs. They do it bigger in Texas. First day I looked at 2,800. Keep go. That night I laid down, they were still coming. I couldn't stop them. Only 660 got to go to Houston. This was being sifted at Brenham. I got down to 4 kids. 2 got to go, 2 didn't. I picked this little girl, and she jumps about this high, and she comes over to hug me and karate chops me right in the throat. Just, you taste blood when it gets you good. I remember how excited she was. I remember the passion she had. Oh, she got to go to Houston. I picked this next boy. He's about 6'4". I hunkered down. Big as Jeremy. Comes over, and he jumps and bear hugs me. I remember the excitement. You know what I don't remember? The other 2 kids. The 2 kids that got this close had the discipline, the character to handle the disappointment without any reaction. I needed to hug them. But that's life. That's what comes in the deal. Handling disappointment. It's tough. It's nothing easy about it. But it's one of those things we have to do. Second thing, you want to be successful in farming, you better figure out how to work. My dad said being lazy was worse than stealing. I consider it the same thing. Don't earn your money, you're stealing when it comes down to it. I was judging in Jackson, Mississippi. And they were judging showmanship. Now, that's not how good the animal is. That's how good the kid shows the animal. And a little girl comes in, Down syndrome. And she's just doing wonderful. I kept watching her, and she was winning. And I'm old school, good's good and bad's bad. I can love you to death and beat you like a dog. That's just old school for me. And I kept thinking those other kids are going to come on, they're going to beat her. They didn't. I picked her, and the crowd jumped up and screamed and yelled like I have never heard. And her dad come running across the ring, tears just coming down. It gets me still to this day. You know what? I think about how hard that young lady and that dad had to work to get her to stay on task long enough to win showmanship. You want to be success in agriculture, you get up early, you stay out there like that, and you do the things you don't have to when you don't have to. That makes the difference. It's what you do when you don't have to do nothing that will separate you from those who don't. Success is earned. Third thing is, I call it being a good listener. I will tell you, at 67, I'm as open to learning as I've ever been in my life. I wish I'd have been that way when I was 20, because you couldn't tell me nothing. I knew it all. Many of us are that way. I think teachers are the most important people in the world, because every generation learns everything over. We all start ABC, 1, 2, 3. And it's crazy. I was judging in Billings, Montana. And they started with the oldest kids in showmanship, and I don't like that because, those kids might be their last year, and we need them, every judging's not what you see, but how you value what you see. So everyone's a little bit different. So I asked, can I talk to the kids just for 2 minutes? They said, sure. Brought the kids down to the ring. I talked to them. An hour and a half later, we started the show. Their mom and dad came out of the stands. We stood around there. They were starved to learn. Starved to learn. It's okay not to know everything. It's okay not to know everything. It's not okay not to learn something every day. And if you're going to be in agriculture, you better have them ears open and be ready to adapt and adjust, because nobody changes more rapidly and has to adapt more than we do in agriculture. The last thing, I call it patience, but what it comes down to is having kind of a positive kind of attitude. Can-do kind of attitude. If you think you can, you can. If you think you can't, you won't. That's just see it over and over and over again. I was judging Germantown, Kentucky, which is up in Mason County, up next to the Ohio River there. And I was judging sheep, and this little girl came in, little bitty thing, just as cute as she could be, kind of a chunky one with glasses, beautiful. She had the nastiest sheep in the history of sheep. I'm talking sloppy, fat, belly dragging, bad. She didn't take no expert judge to figure out this sheep was bad. I'm going down through there and I'm handling him. He's just as fat, Mike, as he looked. I said to her, gosh, you've been feeding your sheep good. She said, yes, sir. I've been sneaking out of a night feeding it extra. I said, I can tell. She said, I know he's too fat. My daddy told me he's too fat, but she said, this is my first time to show. I said, well, you're doing fine. So what do? Cute girl, bad sheep. Where does she place? Last. And I could tell the crowd was nervous for this little girl. What was Beeler going to say about this sheep you couldn't say nothing good about? When I got down there, it's almost like God tapped me on the shoulder. And I said, ladies and gentlemen, this little girl told me it's her first time to show. Didn't she do a good job? And the crowd stood up and clapped for the girl who got last. I learned something that day. I learned just as important how you handle the bottom two is how you place the top two. And if you look hard enough, there's a win in every loss. You just have to find it. And that's the way we are in agriculture. When everything tears up, find the bright spot, and it's not so bad. Now, what I can't stand with the kids is when they lose, they pout. I hope everybody, everywhere can experience a little winning. Because winning really makes you proud of yourself, makes you feel good about yourself, and makes you where you can do more. But losing teaches more than winning. Life's full of losing when it comes down to this part of it. And I've had my share. In my life, I married Miss Dee Dee. I pulled her out of that Silver Spoon part of Louisville up there, Brownsboro Road, Hunting Creek subdivision. You probably live out there. And took her to the end of a dirt road in Caneyville, Kentucky. My dad said she won't last 6 weeks. It's been 40 years now, 5 kids. I woo her with my ways every day. Our youngest daughter, Abby, the 5th one, was born severely handicapped. And when we had her, we thought the world had ended. We were feeling sorry for ourselves. We were pitiful. I mean, it was one of those deals where, how could this happen? Need something. Here it is. She's 31 now. She loves me all the time. She don't sass me. I don't have to worry about who she's running around with tonight. I may have made the perfect child. You with me? What looks so bad, turned out to be the center of our family. She can't walk. She can't talk. She's like an infant. But she loves us all the time. It's amazing. This morning, before I left to come up here, she's in there fussing a little in the bed. I go in there and smooch on her a little bit, and all of a sudden she's laughing. And her laugh makes everybody laugh. What looks so bad, given a little time, turned out to be wonderful. December of 98, I had 1,200 sows and 3 different farms. Loved the hog business. I wasn't in just to make hogs. I was in to try to make a really good hog, one that could win the state fair, one that could go into a man's herd and make a difference, make better hogs. When I get a litter of pigs, it was like Christmas presents, just like opening a Christmas present. I just studied them little pigs, and I could just tell how good, or I thought I could tell how good they were. Hogs at that December of 98 got to 10 cents. Break even was 35. We're bleeding money. Dee said, you got to get a real job. I told you. And she's right, always right. Billy Ray Smith, Commissioner Billy Ray Smith, gave me a real job. I started leaving home at 4 o'clock in the morning, and for the next 22 years, I did that. 2 hours to Frankfurt, 2 hours back, fighting the time zone. I was embarrassed to start over at 43 years old. I was ashamed. I was ashamed to start over at 43 years old. Too proud. Today, I get the chance to talk to you guys because of what happened to me back in December. You think you've been having a hog farmer from Caneyville standing here talking to you? If it hadn't have been, it was a blessing that the hog business, if the hog business had been decent, I'd still be hog farming and have nothing. Life can be really unfair and look really unfair, but the best thing that could have happened to me like that, I got the perfect job out of it and provided for my family better than I ever have. When things get so bad, give it a little time, and maybe it'll turn out to be better like it has for me. I admire you all. I appreciate you all. I will tell you, agriculture is not easy, but it is absolutely fun. I raised 5 kids before the hog business crashed. I wouldn't give anything in the world for it. Hard way to make a living, but a great way to raise a family. My kids know how to work. My kids are excited about life. My kids starve to learn. My kids think they can whip the world. My son, Ben, he got all his mother's genetics out Brownsboro Road there. He has a PhD in nuclear engineering from Georgia Tech. He got his postdoc at UC Davis and UC Berkeley. He's a professor at North Carolina State University. What a waste. Oh, I'm proud of him. I love him to death. You know how it is. But just think what that boy could have done for agriculture. They tell me today we can pull hair on a baby bull, Jersey bull calf, look at the DNA, and have him 71% proven. That's 5th year of 7 years to prove a bull. We need people in agriculture, scientists, geneticists, farmers, teachers, everything, extension people, everything to make it work. Give it a chance. It can be really good to you and very, very satisfying. And when things seem a little bad, I can tell you, I farm with junk. I break it down every single day and have to go fix it. You know what I'm talking about. I can tell. It'll be all right. It'll be all right. Thank you for letting me come. I appreciate you. You've got lots and lots of resources I think they're going to cover next, maybe, about ways to help you. But you guys can do it. I don't have any doubt in my mind. Thank you for letting me come. I appreciate the chance. I love agriculture. Eat it, sleep it, want to learn about it, I want you to too. Thank you very much.